What the going on this team, Jerry?
Bury him! Bury him!
Jerry, TJ Watt.
He is the best defensive player on the planet.
Go! Yes! Yes! We're gonna fire Steelers fans! Bang! Run it down their throat!
No! That's not a penalty!
Game over! Game over! Don't ask me to do nothing! This is nothing!
He's aggressive.
Hello. Welcome back to another episode of the Steel Here podcast, where I'm your host, Kevin Adams, alongside my partner in crime, Jersey, Jerry Don. Let's just get right to the exciting news this week. Are the Pittsburgh Steelers going to land Davante Adams, or are they going to continue to roll out there a bunch of bums at the wide receiver position, except for George Pickens?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think they're going to get him. It just seems to me they're not going to make that big of a splash. If they go after somebody at the deadline, I don't think it's going to be quite as big of a name as Davante Adams. I'd like Davante Adams. I don't know how he would pair up with George Pickens. I think it'd be pretty good, even like Adams and Pickens or Hopkins and Pickens. I'd like to at least see it. But I think Georgie's definitely wide receiver one. I just don't think they're going to – I don't think they're going to make a splash move. I want to say we should. I want us to, but I just don't see it.
Did you see Diana Rossini reported this morning? It was like 8 a.m. this morning, so we're recording Thursday. By the time you guys hear this, it'll be Friday morning at the earliest. Diana Rossini had reported this morning that the Steelers are heavily interested, and then you have Andrew Filipponi. He's a shock jock for 93.7 The Fan, for those that don't know. He had said, but he has been wrong in the past, as have we, but he said that the Steelers are being very aggressive in trying to land Davante Adams. Very aggressive. Now, whether that's true or not, you have some beat writers saying the most that the Steelers would give up would be a second-round draft pick and a fourth-round draft pick, which I would be fine giving up for Davante Adams personally. I still think he is an elite wide receiver. How he pairs with George Pickens, I don't personally give a fuck how he pairs. I think that's two of the best wide receivers in football, and I would love to see them on the field together.
Yeah, the thing is like, I don't know. I just feel like they're two alphas, I don't know.
Yeah, what's wrong with that, though? That's dogs, baby. Iron sharpens iron.
That's when the diva stuff starts happening. If, Pickens seems to be pretty happy so far this year. He gets the ball a lot,
Mm-hmm.
Davante Adams comes in, starts stealing some targets from him. I don't know how he's going to react. But, hey, I'd like to see it at the very least. But I don't know, man. I know we got the cap space this year and next year. Omar's definitely saved some room, so we could afford him easily.
Oh yeah.
It's just I just can't see it. I don't know. I just can't see it.
So a lot of people have said there's no way the Steelers can swing it financially. Like, it just wouldn't make sense. But then when you really look at the numbers, Davante Adams' contract, he's only guaranteed this year. The next 2 years are basically voidable years. They're not guaranteed money.
Yeah.
So we could bring him in this year, and people are like, oh, you're going to pay him $36 or $44 million this year. Not really. You would pay him around $13 million just for the rest of this season, and it's about $890,000 less per game that he's not here until we get him. So that number is very manageable as far as the Steelers are concerned. You could extend him out, add a couple of years. Financially, I don't think it is as big of an inhibitor as we might have initially thought. I think it's more so he wants to play with Aaron Rodgers, and I think the Jets probably make more sense. They could make a strong push. That's a team that obviously he said he would play for, but he didn't discredit playing for the Steelers. So I heard something today, dude, and it comes back to what we talk about as far as the wide receiver position is concerned. Wide receivers not named George Pickens only average 3 combined catches per game.
Yeah, it's really bad.
3 catches per game, Jerry. That's fucking pathetic. I mean, they really don't have a wide receiver too. When I went back and watched that Colts game, that is one of the biggest glaring weaknesses. If they're not throwing to Pat or they're not throwing to George Pickens, it's either a dump off to the running back or the occasional you find your Darnell Washingtons. They really don't have any other threats at wide receiver.
No, and I was thinking about it today earlier too, driving into Barstool. I'm like saying to myself, even if Roman Wilson, let's say, comes back in the next 2, 3, 4 weeks, whatever it is, how much of an impact is he really going to have, you know? You just don't know. He could come in and be great. That'd be awesome. But I don't expect him to come in and it's like, holy shit, that's, this is the guy. Like, I don't see it. He could be a good talent. I'm not saying he's not gonna be one day, but to come in and just, on the smaller side, wide receiver 2, and just immediately just take hold of this fucking league. I don't know, man. I don't see it. Especially he's had 0 reps in game in an NFL game so far. I don't know. If we're gonna go get somebody like a Davante Adams, I wouldn't want to wait until all the way
No,
like
me
the
neither.
deadline.
That's why, like, if this can happen soon, I'm fine sending a 2 and a 4 if we can get it done immediately. I really would like to see us have a guy before we get to week 9 or the trade deadline. But I guess when you say about Roman Wilson, you're not sure. So what changed? A month and a half ago, we were both pretty sure he was going to be pretty fucking decent. Is it just a matter of he just hasn't been healthy enough to play? Yeah,
no, it's just the overall like health. The overall, like, I was extremely high on him. I thought he could be like, a big contributor to this offense. But like, the thing is, I didn't expect him ever to come in week 1 and be incredible. Right. I'd expect him to come into the league, hold his own for the first couple weeks, 6 weeks, and maybe towards the back half of the year, show flashes. But what is he going to come in week 8 or 9, and then he's going to take him a month, 2-3 months to get used to everything, and by that time the season's over.
Right. I mean, if we're going to continue to talk about the wide receiver room, I do want to point out that I think Calvin Austin is a very good kick returner, punt returner at least. I mean, he almost broke that one in that Colts game. He's so close to breaking one. I would believe he gets one this year just because he's so close to breaking one. But the threat as far as wide receiver, again, we wanted to see it after he had the long touchdown against the Chargers, and we just haven't. He just kind of goes quiet. It's like you said, you want to see it more than once every 10 weeks. I don't know if it's just a matter that they don't get him involved or that he's just not capable of being involved as an every down wide receiver. To me, that's still the biggest weakness. Something I do want to talk about looking back on that Colts game. Jerry, Najee Harris, he gets the ball a lot and he is pretty ineffective. And it could be that when he's in there, they know he's going to run, and so they're loading the box. Whatever the case is, this guy just gets too many touches to not produce on them.
Yeah. No, he does. He gets he gets the ball a lot, man. He gets the ball a lot every single game. I will say, the blocking was not good when he was running the ball.
I would agree.
But still, man, like, that's up to him and Arthur Smith to figure it out, dude. Like, how do you get me the ball, without like 8 people in the box? Start mixing in some, like, I know they mixed in one with the screen pass that got called back and shit like that. But you've seen it Najee's rookie year with Ben. He was getting a bunch of passes out the backfield, really effective.
Yep.
Him in open space is pretty good. I'll take my odds on that. Probably 10 times out of 10. He's great at making people miss. Yep. In open field. I wouldn't say getting hit behind the line of scrimmage, but you got to figure out a way to get him out in space with the ball, like a screen pass, dump off out the backfield, a little curl route in the middle of the field, one-on-one against the linebacker. You've seen it a lot in his rookie year. Yep. You haven't seen much of that, in recent years.
What's interesting for me is that you see Cordero Patterson come in, who I am – watching the game back, I'm a big believer if Cordero Patterson doesn't get hurt, the Steelers can gash them on the ground. He was dominating them until he goes out. I look at it this way. This year, Cordero Patterson takes the shine from Najee Harris. In limited touches, he breaks bigger runs. He looks more explosive. Last year and the year before, we were saying it about Jalen Warren. He looks more explosive than Najee Harris. When he gets in there, he busts bigger runs. He looks like he's more dynamic of a runner than Najee Harris. This is 2 guys now in the last 3 seasons where we're like, well, he looks like he gets more yards behind the same line, behind the same blocking scheme, all of these things. So as a fan, is it really that we're just watching it because they know that Najee Harris is running and they're so predictable when Najee Harris is in the game? Or does he just not have great vision as well? Like, these are things that I keep asking myself. Maybe they didn't pick up that 5th-year option for a reason.
Yeah, well, if you didn't pick it up for a reason, it's like, the thing is, you're going to say, I was going to say, well, stop giving him so many touches, but at the same time, we have nobody else.
Well, right. He's hurt. Now Cordero's hurt. Najee is the only healthy back that we really have right now.
I know. So what are you gonna do? Jaylen Warren, man, he's got to get healthy, man. I'm hoping he has a speedy recovery and gets back because that 1-2 punch is really good. You know, I love to use Jaylen Warren early on in games, and then that fourth quarter start running heavy, have Najee fresh, and really fucking bully the defenses down and wear them out. But I don't know, man. I don't know what they're going to do. The offense, you know, Justin Fields is holding his own. I'll say that, man. He's doing a really good job. It's going to be tough for Russ to take that job from him. You know, if the thing is, if Fields, you know, Tomlin said it in his press conference, you know, he's not going to congratulate Justin Fields. You know, we didn't get a win. You know, he appreciated his effort and whatnot, but he's not going to pat him on the back. We lost the game.
Right.
You know, Justin Fields loses another game, let's say Sunday night. You know, what are you going to start to do? Do you start to think about, I think Russ gets closer. And then what happens if the Steelers go on a 3-game losing streak? Then it's like, okay, well, listen, we might have to switch something up. I think we're going to beat the Cowboys. We should beat the Cowboys. They're dinged up for sure all over the field. I think a report came out today about Trayvon Diggs.
Yep, he's
his
dinged.
ankle.
He didn't practice today.
Yeah, so, you know, we'll see, but I think it's Justin Fields' job right now.
So I guess ultimately for me, it comes down to if they lose and he plays great again and the defense, you know, has another letdown, I don't know how you can just say, oh, it's the reason that they lost, let's put Russ in there. Russ can't play defense, so it's fucking irrelevant. If the defense lets us down again, the defense just let us down. You can't pin that on Fields. Now, watching the game back, I do want to correct something because I initially blamed Frazier for the missed snap. Okay. However, allegedly Fields comes out and says that, you know, it was supposed to be on, lifts his leg one time. And so McCormick taps Frazier snaps the ball. Fields said he was getting one last snapshot look at the defense before he made the call. Yep. So somewhere either Fields is protecting Frazier or Frazier did what was right. Either way, that was incredibly costly watching it. I mean, it was incredibly costly. His fumble, I actually don't know if he fumbled. While it was a stupid play, he's trying to do too much with his legs. I think his elbow was down when he's touched. That shouldn't have been a fumble. That should have been. They fucked themselves on that one.
Yeah, well, he lost the ball before he was down, but then when he regained possession,
he gets touched elbow down.
Exactly. And then, you know, I'm surprised that didn't get overturned.
Right. And another big issue with that game that I have is, well, it's two things. If you're going to go for it on 4th and 1 instead of kicking that field goal early in the game, just to try and slow momentum, okay? If you're going to go for it there, it would have given us 7-3, would have been the game at that point. Why are you lining him up in shotgun? Put him under center. You know, shotgun makes it basically a 4th and 4. He's 4 yards behind where he has to get to. At the line of scrimmage, they've shown early in the year, it's hard to stop that. He needed like 2 feet. I think the play before, though, is what pisses me off the most. I think Najee got the first down, and Tomlin did not challenge it. On that third down play, I'm pretty sure Najee got the first down, and Mike Tomlin did not challenge it.
I've seen the replay a bunch. He was on the line. The ball was on the line.
That's another one of those things in game where Tomlin, you know, let us down. And then in the second half, he calls a timeout right before the Colts are about to kick a field goal that we didn't have to burn a timeout. It made no sense to call timeout there. We could have really used that timeout on that last 2-minute drive. So it was a complete team loss the more that I watched that back. The offense has the bad turnovers. The defense had 3 different chances to get a takeaway early in the game. Richardson fumbles. We can't get the ball. The interception in the end zone, and then the interception over on the first play of the game.
First play.
Yes. If
Joey Porter.
If JPJ times that better, he can intercept that ball. So he had 2
easily
that he missed, and then it was the fumble that we couldn't take. You're right, though. Patrick Queen, Jerry, terrible game. I mean, terrible game out of him. So
all-time bad game.
We're going to need to see him play much better against the Cowboys because, to be honest, he's had 1 good game, 2 games, and 1 bad game so far, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I'd agree. Have you heard anything about Cole Holcomb?
They said he's closer to be coming back. He could come back any week now, so he can be activated at any point. He's much closer to coming back at this point. I do want to say, though, you said Peyton Wilson wasn't that good. I think in coverage he kind of sucked, but overall he graded out fairly well. He's a much better run stopper than he might be a in coverage backer so far, but I think coverage backer in the NFL is something you have to learn how to play. Even if you're fast as shit, that you need to learn how to be in the right places in order to do the things that you need to do as a coverage backer. I think he'll get better there, but overall, I didn't think he played that bad. Deshaun Elliott is somebody I do want to put some light on because I think that guy, right now, they're naming him to the first quarter All-Pro team. He's good.
He's good, dude.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
He can play. He thumps. His
and
coverage
he plays
is good
with some confidence too.
Yes,
you could see when he gets up from you tackling somebody, he has some serious confidence, bro.
I agree.
It seems like he's a guy. He gets your hands on you. That's it. It's over.
Hey, absolutely. I think he's pretty fucking good beside Minka back there. Minka is one guy who's kind of been a little bit of a letdown so far. I mean, he hasn't had an interception in so long. I mean, we haven't seen Minka Fitzpatrick intercept a ball in quite a long period of time. It's not really like he's making a ton of plays. He's not breaking up a ton of passes. They did fuck him on the late hit or whatever the penalty was that I don't know if you heard Tomlin say in his presser that he talked to New York about it and they said they agreed it wasn't a penalty, but it doesn't do much on Monday.
Exactly.
And so, that kind of shit needs to be cleaned up. And if there's one other thing I want to talk about from that Colts game, it's that the only criticism I really have on Justin Fields, sometimes he leaves clean pockets early. He runs into danger. He did it twice in that game. I've seen him do it a couple of other games. I think that's just more something that comes with time and confidence building in your offensive line, not getting crushed. I mean, they did let him get thumped a few times in that game, so that could be something. But overall, I am less upset about that game than I was directly after the game watching it back. Yes, they gave up 17 points in the first quarter, but from 9 minutes left in the second quarter on, they only gave up 10 points the rest of the game. So the defense did settle in. They got busted in the mouth early, but they did settle in. We got fucked on some calls, but overall, I think that game is more of a blip on the radar than it is indicative of who the defense is actually going to be.
No, for sure. I 100% agree with that. One thing I also want to say is, too, and we could talk about this now leading into the Cowboys game, the last few years, the Steelers have had such a hard job starting fast.
Yep.
I don't know what the fuck it is, bro. They just can't get touchdowns early on in the game. First drive, second drive. They're like early on in the game, it takes them so long to warm up to a game. It's baffling. It's baffling to me. You watch these teams week after week. First drives, they're going in for touchdowns. It's like, why can't we do that? Right. I don't understand. Is it the prep? Is it the game plan? Like, what is it?
You have to think it's just them being conservative. Now, to their credit, they did score on their first drive against the Chargers after the Chargers scored on their opening drive. So we did score, or it might have been our first drive or second drive. We did score early in that game, but then we didn't really score again until late in the game. Broncos game, we score early with Darnell Washington. You don't score again until late in the game. We don't score any touchdowns against the Falcons. And then, we do put up 3 touchdowns, but it took us all of the second half to do it against the Colts. So I think it's just the way that they are conservative. We talked about it a few episodes ago. Tomlin only wants to win specific games. He doesn't give a shit about running it up. He wants to win however that game plan dictates they have to win. For me, I don't think that's a recipe for success over the course of a long season. They have got to start starting faster. A, to help their defense if their defense has a down day. But B, it comes back to if you want to help the run game, you have to marry the threat of a passing game as well. You can't just come out there and think you're going to bust them in the mouth and run it down their throats from the opening drive when teams are planning for that. Because before you know it, it's a 3 and out and it's a punt, or it's 4 or 5 plays and then you're punting anyway. You're not really threatening anybody the first 3 or 4 drives of the game. And by then you can be down 10, 17 points. And that's what we saw against the Colts.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing, dude. Like, I have yet to see the Steelers in like a long time, dude, come out and be up 10-0.
No urgency. No urgency. Think about that. You're right. When you look at it, when do we ever go up 17-0 early on a team?
Or even 10-0, 14-0. Right. Never. It's never, ever. It just doesn't happen.
It is something I think is just their philosophy. I just think that they're very conservative early in games until they get a feel for it. But the problem is you have to buck that habit. If you really want to become a better team and a better offense, you have to score points earlier than the third quarter, earlier than the fourth quarter. Because while Fields played great and he showed he can do it, I want to see him do it for 4 quarters. I want to see him do it in the first half as well as the second half. I want to see him play a complete 4-quarter dominant football game, and the Cowboys might be a time you have to do it. While their defense sucks, their offense scores points.
No, for sure, 100%. I know Brandon Cooks being out, is going to ding that offense a little bit, but yeah, no, Dak's a good quarterback, man. CD Lamb, incredible wide receiver, probably top 3 wide receiver.
He
in the
worries
NFL.
me. If there's one worry that I have with the Cowboys Sunday, it's that CD Lamb could torch us. If you just got beat by Michael Pittman and you got beat by Josh Downs, CD Lamb. You're going to have to see Joey Porter Jr. have a bounce back game. He did not have a very good game, maybe the worst game of his career against the Colts, in my opinion, for Joey Porter Jr., maybe the worst game in his career. He's going to have a big bounce back game, and it's unfortunate he has to do it against arguably top 3 wide receiver in football.
Yeah, no, he's different, dude. He's like Justin Jefferson level. He's really good.
I agree.
Yeah, dude, I think we're going to win this game. I'm a little bit nervous, but the injuries to the Cowboys, I think that's big for us.
No Micah Parsons, no Brandon Cooks,
Lawrence.
no DeMarcus Lawrence. I mean, you're looking at their offensive line is beat up. If they ultimately don't have Trayvon Diggs, that's big for us. George Pickens will just destroy their secondary if that's the case.
Oh, yeah, and I think their offensive line is dinged up, too. I don't think it's that good.
Yeah, no, their offensive line is struggling right now. They're all sorts of beat up. Let's look. We'll just get into the stats of the Cowboys. They're 2-2. They beat the Browns and the Giants. They lost to the Ravens and Saints. However, in their games, they've given up massive points. 44 to the Saints. They've given up 44 points to the Saints, 27 to the Ravens, 17 to the Browns, who are terrible at offense. We know that. 15 to the Giants and Daniel Jones. So offensively, though, they put up 330 yards per game. We put up 318. They rush. They are the worst rushing team in football at 75 rushing yards per game. We are 7th at 129 rushing yards per game. Dak is averaging 250 passing yards a game. We average 189. That is on the upswing, though. A few weeks ago, we were only averaging 135 passing yards a game, so that number is really jumping for us. It's just that they get in the end zone. So they average 24.3 points per game. We average 19. So that's what it's going to come down to, in my opinion. It's the red zone. Are we going to be able to finish drives?
Yeah, we got to. We have no choice. We have to. And this has got to be a game where not only we score points, but the defense really shows up. Yes. You're going to need the defense to show up. You're going to need your edge rushers to show up. Listen, I think the Steelers' game plan is going to be taking away CD Lamb as best as they can. And I think the Cowboys' game plan is going to remain the same. You've seen a bunch of teams do it this year, try to do it, at least attempt to do it. One team was really successful at it, and that's taking away TJ Watt.
Yep.
If the Cowboys can do that, we might be in a little bit of trouble. But I expect them to limit as much as they can from CD Lamb. I think they'll have a good game plan for him. I think the defense, this is a get-right game for them, especially the showing at last week where they looked terrible. This is a great game for them to get back on track. Home, Sunday night football, the crowd's going to be there. Possibly a double Renegade game, you never know. But, I'm looking forward to it. I love being in prime time. And, it's a great – this is not only a great chance for this defense, but – prime time, This is a great chance for Justin Fields to really put his mark on things. And, he's been slowly getting there, but this is a chance for him to go out there Sunday night and make a statement and say, I'm sorry, Russ, you ain't QB1. This is my team now. This is his chance.
As much as we said something interesting very quickly. You said he could say it to Russ. So Tomlin said in his press conference that a reporter asked him, is there anything Justin Fields can do to cement himself as quarterback one? And his response was, play well and win. We're in the business of winning. Play well and win. So I hear that as he's on the fence with him, which to me is still kind of crazy, but he's on the fence with him. But if Fields goes out there Sunday and balls out, say he goes for 300 and, 3 touchdowns again, something in that ballpark, I don't know how you take him out. We've had that conversation, but I think that would be enough for Tomlin to say he's quarterback one for right now. Yeah. We talked a lot last week about how that's a Mike Tomlin special. It's going to be a Tomlin game incoming, and ultimately it looked exactly how every Mike Tomlin special has looked for the last 15 years. Sunday night at home against the Cowboys under the lights. I think this could be a Mike Tomlin game in reverse. This is one of those games where they come off a shitter and then he rallies the troops and then they go out and bust a good team in the mouth and they beat a team that we're like, maybe they can win, maybe they can't. This is a game they ultimately win, and we've seen them win for many years. The same way they have Tomlin games, this to me is another Tomlin game.
Yeah, I know. You definitely seen it a lot, throughout the years. Steelers have a game like they just had, and then they bounce back and they play really well. Defense dominates. They score some points and, essentially have the Cowboys in a game where they've never had a chance,
Yep.
I would love to see one of those games. I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I really think this is a game where Justin Fields can really break out. Yeah. And you know what's interesting of the Justin Fields? You've seen it with the Bears. You haven't seen it with the Steelers yet, where he escapes the pocket and he runs for like 30 yards, 50 yards, 60 yards. Like, he did that a lot with the Bears. I haven't seen it that much with the Steelers. I don't think we've seen it yet, like a big 15, 30-yard run.
We've seen some 15s, but a 30-yarder where we have not seen that. I think his longest run of the season maybe 21 yards, which is still decent. But I know some of the plays you're talking about where he just beats
a lot of them.
A lot. It looked like every week he was their whole offense there for a stretch. And a lot of people are saying, "Oh, you're really high on Justin Fields after 4 games." More so, you got to look at some of what he did the last season with Chicago, because the last 8 weeks of his career with the Bears, they were fucking good. They beat some good teams. They had a winning record down the stretch. He was playing good football, limiting turnovers. Maybe he just got it to click, but they were already so late into the Caleb Williams is going to be, our quarterback next year. We have the number 1 overall pick. They had to let him go. Because you heard his wide receivers saying, we wish that we could have kept, just
DJ Moore said
yes, who was a very good wide receiver who they paid a lot of money, over $100 million to. So that's not just some bum saying, yeah, we want to keep him. And then you see him really starting to grow here in Pittsburgh. I agree. Sunday, with the Cowboys defense being as beat up as it is, losing their best edge rusher and losing their best linebacker in Micah Parsons, I think that this could be another one of those games where we have the ability to win with the run game. Their run defense is not very good. Their run defense is terrible, to be honest with you. They give up 146 rushing yards per game, and they give up 26 points per game. So 5th worst in football as far as what they give up. 210 passing, they average giving up 355 yards a game. So that, to me, is the biggest thing. We thought we were going to get it against the Colts. The Colts played our run well. I think we have to go out there throwing the ball to then let the run game take effect and later in the game.
Yeah, I think it's opposite. I think you're right. I think they should focus more this game. Trying to get the pass to work early.
Yes.
And then, those 3rd and 3s, those 3rd and 4s, 3rd and 5s, you could run the ball, catch them off guard a little bit. So we'll see what happens. I honestly, nothing really shocks me when it comes to the Steelers, but I honestly would be shocked if they came out flat and the Cowboys punched them in the mouth with all these injuries. I'd be shocked.
Agreed, especially because it just happened. Usually this team rallies. Like, it's rare that, I hate saying it, but after a Mike Tomlin special, it's rare that you see them get beat up badly 2 weeks in a row. Now, yeah, you can look back to the stretch where we had last year between the Patriots and the Cardinals, but you're also dealing with Mitch Trubisky, and, at that point, we're beat up.
I don't really count that.
Agreed. It's hard to put that into perspective if that's how you're looking at it just from a wins and loss column. But I agree with you. I would be absolutely shocked if they came out and busted in the mouth. I think this is a game that the Steelers very likely could put up 30 points. The Cowboys are not a very good defense, and that's when they're fully healthy. And right now they're very beat up. So if ever a game out of the first 5 that we've played, the first 4, this will be game 5. If there was a game I would feel most confident in scoring 30, it's at home Sunday Night Football against the Cowboys.
Yep.
Let's look at the betting. So, tough week for me. I got the 2 bets because I had won the week prior. I took the Steelers last week to cover 1.5, lost that bet. I took under 39.5, lost that bet. So I am now 2-3 on the season. Jerry, you hit your bet. You took the over 39.5. That was a great play. You are now 2-2 on the season. On the DraftKings Sportsbook this week, it is Steelers -2.5. The over-under is 44. The money line is -135 to the Steelers. What is your bet of the week this week, Jerry Don?
I'm going to keep it simple this week. I have 2 bets.
Yeah, you get doubles.
Wow.
Yeah, that's why this is going to be fun. You can really pull ahead here.
I'm going to take the Steelers money line. That's my first play.
Yep.
And then with my second play, I am going to take George Pickens anytime touchdown score. He is so due. He is so due to score a touchdown.
Should have scored against the Colts. He drops that ball in the end zone. And so, that's one thing that you and I had discussed after the fact is, everyone wants to say Fields can only score in the red zone with his legs. That's not entirely true. He should have thrown the touchdown pass the week before against the Broncos. It got called back. We remember that play. And then he had the ball in George Pickens' hands. George Pickens should have 2 touchdowns. He just dropped that ball against the Colts. That should have been one for him. So that's a good bet. I think George Pickens is very due himself. This week, I am going to take over 44 points.
Wow.
I'm going to take the over. While I think the defense has a bounce back game, I think keeping the Cowboys under 17 is still a very tall task. I'm not sure that we do that. I think this is the first time we go for 30. I could see a 30-17 score being the game, which would get you over the 44. I'm going to take the over. I said until proven otherwise, I'm going to take the unders, and I was proven otherwise last week. I still don't know how good our defense is going to be yet. Could last week be an anomaly? Could that be, kind of the trend of what you're going to see for a few weeks? Dak can air it out. Even if we jump on them early, they can put points up in bunches later in a game.
Oh, yeah.
They throw heavy. We just got gashed by Joe Flacco. That tape is out there now. You have to think that a guy like McCarthy, who is a good offensive head coach, he sees that same tape. So I'm going to take the over 44. I just think it's going to be a high scoring game in my opinion.
Yeah, I could see it. Yeah, like you said, dude, I'd love for this to be a game where the Steelers come out and fucking score 30 points. And I think it's really, really needed too, especially for Fields and that offense to be like, you know what? We actually can fucking do this. Now, if you come out there and you friggin', even if you win the game, let's say 17-14 or something like that, man, you really got to look into a wide receiver. You really, really have to.
Yeah.
You really have to really get the ball rolling and try to get somebody in here because you're not going to win many games like that, dude. You're not going to win many games like that, especially, against teams with great offenses.
I couldn't agree more. I think you're going to have to see the offense either put up big numbers or Omar Khan has to make something happen very quickly. So if Filippone's sources are correct and the Steelers are aggressively pursuing Davante Adams, that would excite the shit out of me. We'll see if it ultimately happens. But yeah, if there were ever a game you wanted to see them put up 30 and really start to pull ahead, I think that this could be the game just simply based on the trajectory that they're on. They struggle early. They got it going against the Chargers a little bit later in the game, really got it going. They got it really going the second half against the Colts. If they could limit turnovers, they would have had the ability to score 30 against the Colts. So it's going to have to be a clean game, in my opinion. I don't want to turn the ball over, especially to a team that can score points and a bad defense. That would help them a ton to have extra possessions. I think we have to be clean with the football. That includes George Pickens not extending it, dumbass shit like that. You got to watch those types of turnovers. But if they can protect the football, and Justin Fields goes for 280 yards or more, I think they score 30 points, and I'm pretty confident in saying that.
Yeah, let's see. I hope so.
Hell yeah, me too, Jerry Don. This weekend, you guys, you'll have to come to the Terrible Tailgate. It is the biggest guest I have ever gotten for a Terrible Tailgate. It is Santonio Holmes, Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl 43. He will be at Red Lot 5A. You'll find all of the information on social media. You guys are more than welcome to come. Let's drink some beer. We're going to really turn this up. Jerry Don, are we going to record after the game Sunday night, depending what time it is? Where are you at with that?
Yeah, so Sunday stream, I believe Bob Does Sports is going to be on stream with us Sunday. Yeah, I'd say after the Steelers game, we'd have to record. So after that Sunday night, whatever time you get home, whatever it is, 11, 12, whatever, we'll record something for I don't know, half hour, 20 minutes, and we'll put it out hopefully the next day. So we'll do that. Are you doing the jersey giveaway this week or no?
So that is the other thing. So we are going to give away a signed jersey at the Terrible Tailgate. All you have to do is subscribe to the YouTube channel. So Lucas is going to get us a QR code. As long as you can show the ticketing guy that you are subscribed to the Still Here podcast, you will get a free entry for a signed jersey. I don't know what the jersey is yet. We're going to find out who there's a sponsor of the show that wants to give us some memorabilia. So we might be back in with Total Sports Enterprises. So that's just something, before we give them too much credit right now, that might be something that we have lined up, because they're willing to offer us the jerseys to do the actual giveaways. So as long as you guys are subscribed, it is a free entry. I'm not charging any money for it. You just show that you're subscribed, free entry for a signed jersey. So we're going to get this fucking number to 20,000 subscribers so that you guys get $2,000 from Jerry, Don, and I.
Hell yeah, love it. We'll be back Sunday night. We'll record. You know what we should try to do? I don't know if people would like this. Leave a comment if you think this is a good idea. Like, fuck the editing and all that shit for reactions. Mm-hmm. What about if we go live? Would people watch live reactions? Because people would have to have their notifications on, you know, right, after Steelers games and stuff like that. Like, hey, Steel here is live on YouTube now too. You could tune in and listen. I don't think it needs a lot of work. I don't think we need an intro for reactions and stuff like that.
No, we wouldn't. I mean, realistically, the nicest thing about that would be that it's done. Like, that's immediately, and then you can just go back and watch the YouTube. You can either watch it live, or when it's done, it'll automatically upload as an episode anyway. So you guys are going to get, Jerry and I, to be honest with you, we never edit anything out of this show. That is one thing that I think is we can hang our hat on. You're getting true from the minute we hit record. This is going on 35 minutes. We don't edit any of this shit out. Whatever gets said here, we put into the show. So that would be the same thing if we gave a live reactionary video on YouTube. So let us know in the comments. Is that something you guys would be interested in? Like, comment, subscribe. We continue to do great numbers with the show. It's really starting to get where we want it to go. We appreciate you guys. Share it where you find it. We will see you guys when the Pittsburgh Steelers are 4-1 Sunday night, and we'll talk to you then. Later, Jerry.
All right, see you then, Kev.
We're here. We're still here.
We are still here.